I married a dead man and I did not know. It was real, very calm, and that is what scared me the most. Everything started 2020, when I moved from Enugu to Port Harcourt, after I got a job. I'm Ella, a 28-year-old lady, but I was not looking for love, just peace and new beginning, because I was tired of the chaos and disappointments in Enugu. Then, I met Liam in the restaurant close to my workplace. The rain outside was hitting the grass like tiny stones. I was eating when a man walked in, dressed neatly in a white shirt and blue trousers. He smiled politely and sat near me, and that was the second time I'm seeing him in the restaurant. Same smile, same colors of dress. White and blue, and I recognized him. "Good evening," I greeted. "Good evening," he replied, his voice soft, almost musical. He ordered only a plate of food and water. "You look like someone who carries too much pain in her eyes," he said gently. I froze and said, "I'm fine." He smiled and said, "Even fine people cry when no one is watching." He sounded like someone who understood sadness too well. That was how we exchanged contacts. Liam was different. He didn't talk too much, but when he did, his words carried peace. He never raised his voice or got angry. He always smelled like rain and old books. He was so calm, soft-spoken, not the type of guy that throws money around. Or the ones that say, "Do you know who I am?" The only strange thing was the color of his clothes. Every day, white and blue but different designs. I even teased him one day and said, "Do you have only 2 colors of clothes?" He just smiled and said, "There are peaceful colors. White reminds me of forgiveness. Blue reminds me of calmness. I like peace, Ella. I've had too much chaos already." His tone made my heart ache and I didn't press further. We dated for 8 months, no drama, no ex calling me or him, and no weird habits. Just a quiet man who likes to stay home, listen to high life musics, and pray a lot. I like the fact that he prayed. In fact, sometimes he would go quiet and sit in the dark alone. I thought he was meditating or praying silently. I never met his parents. He said they were dead and he is an only child, so he moved from Kogi to Port Harcourt after their burial to start a new life. That he doesn't like to talk about them. I respected his decision. I mean, people grieve in different ways. And I'm just grateful to have someone who made me feel safe after all the pain I had gone through in Enugu. From losing my relationship to losing my job, Liam was like calm water after a storm. So, when he asked me to marry him, I said yes. We got married early 2022. Just a small court wedding and a simple church blessing. No big ceremony. He said he had no living relatives, and I didn't want to drag the whole process for the sake of our peace. By the end of the year, I got pregnant. That was when things started getting weird. One night, I woke up and saw him standing beside my bed staring at me. I screamed, "Liam, what are you doing here?" He said with a soft voice, "I was only checking if you're okay, Ella. You've been restless in your sleep." I said in my head, "That's fair enough." Maybe I was snoring, because I knew pregnancy can be stressful. He added, "Don't be afraid. I told you, I will always protect you." The next morning, I went into the kitchen and perceived something sour like spoiled meat, then found out every piece of meat, fish, and food in the fridge was rotten. I called a technician immediately. When the man arrived, he checked the wires, the fan, and the motor. Then he shook his head and said, "Madam, your fridge is perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong with it. Then how come everything spoiled overnight?" I asked. He said, "Sometimes, madam. It's not about the machine." Weeks later, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Every time Liam carried her, she wouldn't stop crying, but the moment I took her back, she stopped crying and smiled. At first, I thought maybe my baby just needed time. But as days turned into weeks, the pattern never changed. Then, I noticed something else. The family pictures we took on a Sunday afternoon. When I scrolled through my phone one evening, I found out that Liam wasn't in any of the pictures anymore. It was only my daughter and I. He wasn't in it. I thought maybe I was shaking or seeing something else, so I took another one inside the living room. The same thing. He didn't appear in the picture. The space where Liam had stood looked empty. My hands shook as I stared at the screen. So I called him, trying to sound calm. "Liam, come and see something funny," I said with a nervous laugh. He walked in with his usual calm smile on his face. "What is it, my love?" I showed him the photos and said, "You're not showing in any of them." Liam looked at the pictures for a while, then chuckled softly. "Maybe you used the ghost filter," he said teasingly, brushing it off. I forced a laugh too, but inside, my skin was biting me and my heart thumped so hard that I felt it in my throat. I didn't say a word about the issue again that night. But sleep refused to come. When Liam finally drifted off, I quietly got out of bed. I started searching the house because I felt something wasn't right. I went through his wardrobe thoroughly. No ID card. No old pictures. No family photographs and no certificates. Nothing that proved he had ever lived a normal life before meeting me, only a small wooden cross. A Bible, necklace and blue and white clothes. The next morning, when he went out, I opened the last drawer and found a folded old newspaper that if you touch it anyhow, it would just shatter. I opened it carefully, and my whole body went cold. There was a photo of Liam's face on the front page. The headline reads, 22-year-old man unalive in a fatal car crash in Kogi and is the only son of his family. I checked the date. It was 2016, 6 years ago, before I met him. My eyes blurred with tears and my chest was beating fast. I took the paper and ran to my neighbor, who was an older woman. She looked at it and said, "This boy looks like your husband. Are they related?" I said no more. "He is my husband," she said. "This boy is dead." I remember the story. His parents unalive just a few months before him. It was a big tragedy. The whole family was gone. I went back home shivering and I still don't believe what I seen and hearing. When he came back that day at night, I pretended like everything was fine, but I watched him, the way he moved, the way he never sweated, even under the sun. Now I know why. Animals avoided him, because our neighbor's dog would bark non-stop whenever he passed. I wanted to confront him or scream, but something in me said, "Don't ask him yet." I quietly started, planning to leave the house, but in the night, I woke up and he wasn't in the bed. I checked everywhere but found him in the living room, sitting in the dark and staring at nothing. I said, "Liam, are you okay?" He turned slowly and said, "You were not supposed to find out, I swear." My legs started shaking. He stood up, walked towards me, and said, "I loved you and I still do, but now that you know, I have to go." I couldn't even cry, my throat was tight. He pecked my forehead and said, "Take care of our daughter, she is the only part of me alive." He walked to the door, opened it and left. I ran after him, but when I got outside, he was gone and vanished. No footsteps, no sound. Just like that, I called his phone. It was switched off. I checked all his clothes. It were all gone. It was like he was never there, except for my baby. Till today my daughter doesn't like mirrors. She cries anytime she sees her own reflection, and sometimes she points at one corner of the room and laughs. I asked her what is funny and she said Daddy's face is funny, but nobody was there. I moved out of that house and changed state again. I haven't dated ever since then and I don't sleep well in the dark. And every year on the 18th of July, the day he unalive, my daughter gets a fever and the doctor said it's viral thing, but I know it's not. I just hope he's truly gone. Please share this story. Maybe someone out there is going through something similar. Always check and be careful out there. People are not always who they say they are.